Hello everyone, welcome to the first lab for the Introduction to GIS and Cartography course. My name is Kripa and I will be your teaching assistant. I'm looking forward to having a very productive semester ahead of us. So the main objective for today's lab is to get an idea of the overview of these two products or applications from Esri. These are ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro. So ArcMap is something or a software that we will only be using for today's lab, and ArcGIS Pro is what we will be using mostly throughout the semester, and also we will have labs that deal with ArcGIS online as well. So yeah, let's just jump right in for today's lab. This lab document here has all the work plan and all the guidelines and instructions that we need to conduct today's lab, and at the bottom you can find the deliverables that you all need to take into account while submitting to earn those lab credits. So I'm assuming that all of you have already downloaded the lab files from your Canvas and stored in a secured location that you can navigate for today's lab. So yeah, once you unzip those files, you will have a Word document that looks like this. So let's go ahead. First of all, we need to open ArcMap and we need to add some data sets and also examine the movement and identify tools. So I have ArcMap pinned right at my taskbar. Maybe you guys can do the same. It's just easier rather than going to the search bar and searching for it. So, alright, so ArcMap was released in 1999, almost 21 years ago, and it is part of a larger package called ArcGIS Desktop that consists of ArcMap and ArcCatalog. Alright, so the first thing that pops up when you open ArcMap is this thing right here. So, this is the map document that we will be using for today's lab, and this shows the default location to save this map document. So I'm fine with this location. If you guys want to store it somewhere else, you can just browse and add it accordingly. So I'm just gonna click OK. So as you can see, the user interface for ArcMap is kind of outdated compared to ArcGIS Pro. And a little fun fact for new GIS users and existing GIS users is that Esri is actually trying to or undergoing a transition, and they want to scrap ArcMap and just go ahead with ArcGIS Pro. So that transition is gonna take at least 3 more years. So it's okay to just have little knowledge of ArcMap here and there, but personally I prefer ArcGIS Pro as well. So you have the basic toolbars right here, and which just has a lot of regular tools like opening new map document, opening existing map documents, saving, printing, adding data right here, where you can also add base maps and directly add data from ArcGIS Online. There are tools for Python scripting and for building spatial models. Also, I've added a couple of other analysis tools that I thought would be interesting for me, and if you guys want to do the same, you can just go here, right click, and just uncheck if you don't need them. Okay, so I'm gonna uncheck all of these. Okay, let's add 3D Analyst. So that just went right there. Let's add Draw. So we can just dock this right here if we want. Alright, so similarly, we can add and just remove these tools according to our needs. On the left-hand side, we can find a contents pane that has layers written, and we're gonna add data sets right beneath this. And on the right hand side, you'll find a catalog bar, and you might also find a search bar, but that's missing here because I don't normally use it, so I removed it. You guys might have it right here. So anyway, now we are going to be adding the data from our lab files, which we have downloaded. So there are two ways through which you can add those data. First of all, you go to this button right here on the menu bar. Just click the drop down menu excuse me, and add data. So this takes you to folders, and if you have any data saved right here, then this is a great place. Sadly, I never save my data within the documents, so I'm going to be using another way, which I find is a lot easier. So we're going to open catalog pane again and click on this little add button. I already have connected my folder, but I'm just gonna do this again. So you guys can go to folder connections, right click, do connect to folder, and now you can navigate towards where your data sets are. So mine is right under ArcMap data. That's what it's called. That's what it is called. So here you go. And here you will find a geodatabase. So just click on the little add sign, not here, just the add sign, and just plus minus. So this is the way to just like go within the folders and files and the database. So we're gonna add libraries. Oops. We're gonna be adding, just drag and drop the libraries here. Same thing for the school, click, drag, and drop. So yeah, this looks a little weird. It's just points on a blank canvas. So we need some reference, we need some context, right? Where are these located? These could be in Antarctica, this could be like, I don't know, like Africa. So we are going to add a base map. So the significance of adding a base map is that besides providing contextual information, it provides a great background details, and we also have like spatial references. So just avoid this warning. This just means that the points and the base map are not in the same coordinate system, but that's not something we have to worry about for this lab. So just close this and say no. All right, so now we know that these are located within Salt Lake City. And the green ones are the schools, and the blue ones are the libraries. So these are point feature class, which is a type of vector data, which I'm sure you'll be learning a lot more in the coming classes. So let's go back to our lab document. So yeah, now we will be just examining the movement and the identify tools. So talking about the movement tools, this is a basic zoom in, magnifying glass with plus, and the same with this minus sign, just zooms out. I personally prefer using an external mouse, so I just zoom in and zoom out like that with my mouse. I think I would highly recommend you guys doing the same. So this little hand or a palm or a fist, whatever, this is for just like moving around the map. So this is a pretty useful tool as well. And this little globe, just when you click on it, it goes to full extent. That is, it is zoomed out to the full extent. So there you go. This is in a certain projection system. And if you want to go back to your study area, I would just recommend clicking on one of the layers right here, right click on them and say zoom to layer. Okay, great. And this is like a fixed zoomed in, and this is a fixed zoomed out extent. which is pretty cool as well. And this button right here just goes back to previous extent. So if you guys just hover over all these tools, like the descriptions are pretty straightforward and easy to follow. So now we're gonna just like explore the identify tool. So click on this eye right here and click on one of the points. So I'm gonna click here. So this just gives me like a pop-up information of where the point is located, like is it a school or a library, and other details like phone number and how many grades or what level of grades the school provides, what type of school is it, and so on. So this is kind of interesting. Let's do one more right here. I think this is the Marriott Library. There you go. Yes. So yeah, just like this also has like opening hours and a website link. So this is pretty cool. Now we move on to our next step, which is creating a list of libraries which are found on campus with their associated addresses. All right, so now since we just want libraries, okay, I'm just gonna click on pan again. We can move towards, we know where the university is, so this is where school is located. So we just want library, so we can just uncheck the school layer. Cool. So now you can see that there are only 4 libraries within campus. What we can do now is we can there are 2 ways where we can create by using identify tool, and also there's this other way by using the select tool. So let's go ahead with the identify tool. We can do this like one by one, open the pop-up and just like copy, we can just like see the names and copy the address into a Word document one by one, but I suggest doing something else. So what I would like to do is I'm gonna click on the select features, select by rectangle, so we know like these are the only 4 libraries here. So yeah, the 4 libraries are selected now, and what we can do is we can go back to the libraries layer function layer and right click on it and open the attribute table. So yeah, as you can see, the ones selected on the map are also highlighted in the attribute table in blue or cyan color. And if we just want to see the selected list of libraries, here's this like little rectangular colored bar. So yeah, there you go. And what you can do is you can just like right click on this, copy, open a Word document, and just maybe have this table created and just paste the library names and the addresses for all the other 3 as well. Okay, so now we can clear our selection by going here, clear selected features, and that's it. We can pull back the schools if we need them and click on pan so that we don't select other stuffs. So yeah, I think that's what is needed for number 2. Now we can close ArcMap. If you guys want to save it, you can just go ahead and save it as lab 1. Okay, this is gonna get saved here in my ArcGIS documents section, so I don't have any problem with it because I know where it is located. So I'm just gonna save it. This is a map document and I'm gonna close it. Now the document says that we need to open a new ArcGIS Pro project. So here you go. I have it pinned on my taskbar and it's easier to just access it. ArcGIS Pro is relatively new. It is the newest product that Esri has to offer. It was released only in 2015 and it is built on a .NET architecture that supports 64-bit. So it is way faster than ArcMap, and there are a lot of developments. And Esri is really into promoting ArcGIS Pro compared to ArcMap. So yeah, here are all on the left hand side. You can see all of my past projects, but we want to create a new one. So here we go. Now I'm gonna name this KTTA Lab 1. And I wanna just like go ahead and save it somewhere else. So I'm gonna navigate to my okay, it is saved where I want it to be saved. You guys can do the same. I would recommend, like, if you're using a personal machine, that's fine, but like if you're using the lab computers, I would definitely want you guys to save it under the network drive because that's where it's the safest. Okay, here now the project is created. As you can see, the GUI is like, you can spot the immediate differences in the GUI among like ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro. This is a lot cleaner, it's prettier to look at, easier to navigate, and ArcGIS Pro has these ribbon user interface, so once you click on the tabs, you'll just see the toolbars underneath them, and I think this is really clean, very well made. So yeah, similarly we have the contents pane on the left hand side, the catalog pane with sub panes in the right hand side, and here in the middle is where all the data visualization takes place. So this is where the map magic happens. So this comes with a default topographic base map. So topographic base maps are great, like they are used for a general purpose, and they have like these features such as these borders and these water bodies and the names of locations that usually don't change. So yeah, now I'm like under map, like I'm using the explore tool, so I'm just like, it's similar to pan, so I can go wherever I want to, just move it wherever I see it fit. And similarly, the little globe is for the full extent. This is for fixed zoomed in, fixed zoomed out, previous extent, so just the basics. Similarly, there are two ways from which you can add data. So this is the first way, just like add data to the map of where it's located. So this way you just add two of these. This is great, so this pops up, but I prefer doing it the other way. So I'm gonna make a folder connection, like go to folders, right click, add folder connection, and I'm gonna navigate to where I've like saved all of my so here you go, these are where my alright, so if you just click this arrow button, so this right here is your home folder. This is where you're going to be saving this project right here, and this is where this is the data or the folder that you've extracted. This contains the geodatabase where you have all those 2-point feature classes. So you select it, either drag and drop here or here, doesn't matter. I'm going to drag and drop it right here. So great. So the green ones are the schools, and the purple ones are the libraries. Let's see what the document says. So we've examined the explore tool, and now we need to examine the select features and just zoom to an extent and export a simple map. So let's examine the select features. So the select features right here. Okay, let's see what's inside the campus. I've selected 5 of these. So what we can do is we can just click on explore and see what these are one by one, like the pop-up versions. Okay. That's outside campus, but that's fine. Okay. Here are the libraries. I think this is a school. So yeah, we can just go over them one by one. And what we can also do is we can open attribute tables for each of these layers. These ones for schools and these are for libraries. And you can see the points have been highlighted here in the attribute table as well. And I think there's one school. Here you go. Yeah. And there you go. It's University Academy. So yeah, so that's like the basic select tools functions. Now we need to just export a simple map, so we can go ahead and clear out these selected points. There you go. And you can just use your mouse like I'm doing if we want. Okay, and extend. So I'm seeing that there are a lot of schools that are out in like the outer boundary of our map. So go on school layer, right click, and click on zoom to layer. So this gives you like a good extent of the map, and now we want to export this. So under the share tab, we can go ahead and export it. So just a caution, most of the times ArcGIS Pro tends to crash if you're using the lab computers, so it might get a little crazy. So I suggest just like if you don't want to export the maps, you can just take a screenshot. That works as well. So and if you just want to be I don't know, be on the safer side, just go ahead and do both. So I would take a screenshot of this and I would also export the map. So take a screenshot and save it where you see best, and export this map as well. So I'm just gonna name this map lab 1. And here, yeah, so most of the time the print resolution is measured in dpi, which means dots per inch. So this just means that 130 just means that there are going to be 130 number of dots or ink dots within 1 square inch of area. So that's kind of interesting. I would just leave it to a default of 130. Export the map. Okay, so it's done. Now we want to move on to our next step. So this asks us to create a list of schools that offer only grades 9 through 12. So these are basically just high schools, I assume. Here we can get rid of the libraries layer because we're just dealing with schools now. And now we want to find only high schools within these. So what we can do is go to the schools layer, right click, click on properties. Now we will have to subset this data, right? So we're going to do a definition query. So this will allow us to add a clause. So this clause right here. So I'm going to just, okay, so here, this is a variable. So we want a variable that says we want a grade low of 9. So where grade low is equal to 9, and we want a grade high of 12. Grade high and 12. Now we're just going to click apply. We're going to click OK. And boom, these are the only 8 high schools within a bunch of the schools that were previously on the map. So what we can do is we can just right click, go to our attribute table, and there you go. just to double check, here you go. These are all high schools. And we want just the names. So on a Word document for your deliverables, I would just go ahead and write the list of schools. You can just do a right click, copy, and do a paste. There you go. So moving on. Okay, so the other thing that we need to do is we need to measure the line, a straight line distance from these two libraries. So want to go back, close this attribute table, deselect schools. If you want to see all the schools, we can just go to this back button. There you go, you get back all the schools. Okay, now we want the libraries, we don't want the schools anymore. So just select the libraries, and we want Queenie and Marriott. So there you go. Okay, so we want to measure a single distance between these two. What we can do is we can go back to map, and under the map tab you'll see a tool called measure, like it's like a scale or a ruler or a measuring tape, and just do a measure distance. So I'm gonna click on this point and then double click on this point. So there you go. This is like almost like 440 meters. So select that, just do a copy, go to your deliverable document, and there you go, just paste it right here. Finally, we want to open our catalog, and we want to record the information stated in the summary of the description tab. So the way you can do this is go back just as far as you've just written this down, just close this and turn on the schools, zoom out. Okay, and now we want to select both of these layers like one by one separately. So we'll start with schools, and we will go down to view metadata because that's where all the description is stored. As you can see, there are no summary for a lot of these items. It just has the coordinates. So let's close the catalog. Let's go back to libraries, do the same, view metadata. And this one does have like a lot of information. So yeah, we can just go ahead and copy all of this, copy and paste it. There you go. And I guess we're done for this day. Yeah, so for the deliverables, just hand out the list of libraries, an export of the ArcGIS Pro map. This can be a screenshot as well, with both of the point features, a list of schools, a straight line distance, and the summary. So basically, this is what your deliverables will look like, and there is going to be a separate screenshot or an export map. So I think that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the lab, and I'll see you for lab number 2. So thank you.